I met you, Carmen. I met you last year at the conference in Chicago, the Mid-America Conference, and you are delightful. And you always look and present in a most fabulous way. So please, Carmen, tell everybody what you do and this wonderful protocol that you have. Take it away.
Well, Claudia, I'm like you, a professional hypnotist. I enjoy doing hypnosis, and I employ a lot of healing and resolving deep-seated trauma. And now, me and you know that trauma doesn't have to do with physical abuse or weather devastation or things like that. Sometimes deep-seated trauma has to do with unpleasant memories from childhood, like somebody laughed at you and then you felt so badly, or somebody didn't want to include you and you felt so alone. So I resolved that rather quickly. And I enjoy doing that. In addition to that, I do a lot of coaching, executive coaching, career coaching, life coaching. But in my session with clients, I always include coaching. It has to be there. It's not just hypnosis. Hi, how you doing? Hypnosis. It just doesn't work like that, at least for me. So this fabulous new, I wouldn't call it protocol. It's quite an advanced skill called Feelfulness, feel of feeling by choice. Started developing many years ago by me stumbling upon the definition of it, because now that I think about it, I kind of always had it, if I could say it like this, not quite, but kind of sort of. But mostly intrigued me and to some degree bothered me. That everybody says, feel the feeling, that's the secret. And all of the specialists and all of the big gurus, you got to feel the feeling in different contexts. And at the beginning, I was like, yeah, you have to feel the feeling. That's what I do. I feel the feeling. And after a while, it occurred to me that they don't teach you how.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're right. You're right. It's like breathe. Well, how do I deep breathe? And now you're saying, well, how do you actually feel this feeling? How? Great, love it.
Correct. And even in hypnosis, sometimes we're a lot of guided into find that feeling. Well, how am I going to find that feeling? Because my arthritis can really be flared up, or my digestive is not all that good. And in that moment, I come to you as a hypnotist to feel better. So then here I'm going to find a feeling. Well, good luck with that, because I'm not very good at it. That's why I come to you, right? So there are ways on how to feel the feeling, even if you don't feel like it.
Okay. Yeah. I really like that that curiosity because that is absolutely huge. So please carry on. I'm yeah.
Well, you're right. It is huge, because there is a science behind that. And in my let me show you my book.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's quite a big book. It's quite a big book, and it took a lot of years to develop and to think about how to present this book, because the techniques, you can write about them, but then they have to be experienced, right? But this book needed to present the science behind it, and look at all of the references and look at all of the precedents where big guys talked about it and explained certain things, and definitely look into the neuroscience. Neuroscience fascinates me. And maybe we can have a whole segment on the neuroscience, because I can talk about neuroscience for a week straight, right? Well, and feelfulness for a week straight. And there is a science behind it. And what's interesting about putting this neuroscience together is that I am bridging psychology with hypnotherapy, with shamanic practices, and with alchemy.
Okay.
They all have something in common. So for me, learning and training in different areas, um, for me, it's easy. Well, yes, it is easy. It's easy to see the similarities between. Yeah. So I look for the good in things, and what's similar, and how this can be um, joined and bridged. So because of that, I bridged all of these sciences, because some people understand psychology to be the method of feeling better. I don't want to just say therapy, because not everybody needs therapy. Some people just need a little bit of coaching to feel better, need a little bit of understanding. And then some people think that hypnosis is the answer to a lot of their problems, which it is. Okay. And then there's shamanic practices, which they have been, well, psychology developed from shamanism. It's as simple as that. A lot of scientists will say, no, that's not true. Well, okay, just let them say what they say. Um, and then there's the alchemy, the Carl Jung alchemy, right? Transforming the inner self, going to individuation, getting to know your inner self, your personas, your shadows, your soul, connecting with the soul, and then finally individuated. So I'm talking about the inner alchemy, because just years ago, alchemists, they transformed the lead into gold.
Yes.
Um,
I was,
uh,
gonna, I was thinking about the book, The Alchemist, just then.
correct.
So
Well,
let me just check. I'm getting this. Are you talking about self then? The inside self?
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Mhm.
Well, yes, the self is very important, and with all of the personal growth and all of the life, us going through life, and especially therapy, um, we seek to arrive at the self. If a therapeutic intervention hasn't arrived at the self, that therapeutic intervention is not complete.
Okay.
Yeah, in especially in psychotherapy, well, depend on the different methods, but there is psychotherapists are trained to look at your symptoms, at your diagnosis, and at the symptoms, and then they have a list, a protocol on how to address those symptoms.
Hmm.
And if all you do, you look at the symptoms, what what's the rest of you gonna do with that? And I have clients that came to me, and they said, they've had a psychotherapy known as talk therapy, and all they've done, they re-experience their difficulties, their trauma, their pain. So I don't do that.
No.
I don't do that. And even with hypnosis, there are, in the healing type of hypnosis, I call it alchemical hypnosis, which includes a little bit of regression. Um, I take the client into a state to which we don't have to re experience all of that, but then a lot of healing happens. And this is what feelfulness comes into. In addition to several other aspects, fearfulness provides word triangles.
Yes, I was in your workshop and I remember you doing the triangles, and because I loved it, I'm all about diagrams. So yes, please
Yeah.
tell us more.
So these word triangles, they help you generate a state of being.
Hmm.
So, a state of mind, a lot of people understand state of being as a state of mind, but I would like to differentiate between these, because it's not just in your mind, and knowing about it is not just cognitive, it's not just intellectual, it's how you feel about it,
Hmm.
right? That's why you have to feel the feeling,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? Well, come to me, I'll teach you how to feel the
Say
feeling.
it.
Yeah. So here, the word triangles are one of the first tools in feelfulness that teaches you how to feel a feeling. And one of the basic word triangle to for arriving at the self, where that's what we need to arrive with any therapy and all the coaching. It's capable, certain, and happy, right? So let's drop happy for right now, just say content.
Hmm.
Okay, because happy, people understand happy as so many different dimensions that it doesn't have to be at many dimensions, right? So capable, certain, and content. A lot of people say, well, I'm not capable, how many times I'm trying today, I'm not good. I say, yes, you do. If you're here, you're capable of walking, you're capable of talking, capable of breathing. And then people go, oh, so we keep things at the beginning, we keep things very simple because it's easy to relate to. And also, it's very important to be able to breathe, to be able to walk, to be able to talk, to be able to feed yourself, clothe yourself. And then you take the person into the state of mind that, oh, well, it is important and it is valuable, and then they feel that that value of it, so that at the very beginning. And then we practice that a little bit with, a little bit of guidance, a little bit more other examples, and then you begin to feel capable.
Okay, so do you do that as because I do something similar? I play get people to run a movie through their head, visualizing themselves doing these things. So feeling the way you want to feel, doing the things you want to do. So is that a similar thing that they're actually then practicing doing, feeling that content, that capable?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. It is a movie, and uh, there is a script behind it, but it depends on every single person on how they need to go about it, because everybody's processes are different,
hmm,
right? So we have one triangle, but then we have so many ways to go about it, so many ways to write to guide the people into it. And then again, then we go to certain, yeah, then we go to content, find simple things that are so significant that it tells you, it reminds you of how valuable that is.
yeah,
Yeah. So, but the most fascinating thing is that the 1 hour or half an hour or whichever how much time we allocate to this practice is that when you begin to feel that a little bit and a little bit, because you have to repeat, then you recreate memories that register in your hippocampus, hypothalamus, and your amygdala relaxes a little bit and loves you. Yeah. And we also go through the nucleus accumbens, which is the pleasure center. So recently, scientists discovered that memories are one memory is stored in several different versions by the hippocampus and hypothalamus. So this is what hypnosis, that's why hypnosis is so powerful and works so great and so quickly, because just with hypnosis, we get to rearrange some of the memories.
yeah,
But then you go into feel a feeling by choice, first guided, of course. You rewrite so many versions of the memory, and then you create new versions of this memory. And then all of a sudden, after a while, you get to a point where a certain event that sat so heavy on you, you look at it, it's like almost that, as if that happened to somebody else. Not even watching it into a movie. It's like, oh no.
yeah, yeah. You're right. They feel indifferent about it. It's like, it's like, so what? It's like, yeah, it happened to somebody else. It was me, but it was like the really old me, and I feel sorry for that young person that I was then, but I'm okay now. And you're right, and I expect you get this as well, Carmen. You must get it all the time. I know I do. Is that people come in and they go, well, I've been in doing this sort of therapy. I've been doing this, for years, sometimes 30 years, and I thought I was always going to have to feel like this. 3 sessions, 5 sessions, however many sessions, because everybody's different and it depends on how much you've got to go through. And they're fine. They're doing that indifference. They go to acceptance. It's like, yeah, it happened. I prefer it if it hadn't, but it did, and I'm okay.
Correct. Correct. Yes. Yes. And right now, I'm working with a few clients that we're doing executive coaching.
Okay.
Their boss, their boss related to them, that they have to smooth out their communication. And it's like, oh, you're a direct communication. You get to the point quick and you don't waste time around, and people they don't hear you because, for whatever reason.
Is there, yeah.
Yeah. So these are high achievers, right? Where do you think I'm getting with the session? The self,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Getting you
So
right into their core, because their little inner self is like going, recognize me, or what about me? Or yeah, interesting.
that's what they need initially. But what I do, one of the very first session that I'm doing with this high achievers, I have many images that helps me with teaching, and even this book has a lot of images. But I pull out the image of internal reality, and how internal reality is comprised of so many elements, and values and beliefs, they stay at the bottom, then memories, then habits, then language, then expectations. But then here comes the filter: generalization, distortion, and deletion. So when people become aware of it, then just a 10 minutes explanation of that, they go, oh, I do that. Yes, you do that. And then I have a whole, I mean, that looks like a bit linear, but then I have a whole diagrams that go round and round. I say, well, this affects that, and that affects that, and that affects that. And this is where you want to get to.
Yeah, I love it. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely distort stories. And this is why when people go into their story, like you've just said, they do, and they add things in. And it's like, well, that didn't really happen, but it kind of makes the other person who's listening to me feel sorry for me. And we all have a need for people to like us and feel sorry. So people do, they literally distort the story so that it's like, oh, and then they become victim. Oh, and then that's the new belief system. And that's exactly what well, we all do, is like,
Yes.
change that old belief system. We dehypnotize them from that, don't we?
Yes, yes, and it is sad, at least the way I view it, it is sad that something happened to them that really didn't bother them all that much, but then somebody else tells them, "Wow, this is a big deal." Well, maybe it's not a big deal to you because you grew up differently. You grew up in a different country. You grew up in a different culture. It's just all of the environment to which you grew up. Maybe it's not a big deal, but then somebody else comes and, oh, that's a big deal. You need so much therapy for it. Well, maybe yes, maybe no.
Yeah,
So even rearranging all of that, it helps. All of a sudden, you have the person. Well, I have a lot of people telling me, it's like, oh, thank you for telling me that. Well, yeah, it's
yeah.
just common sense.
I love that, Carmen. You've made a really good point there, because sometimes something can happen that towards somebody else from their model of the world can be could be traumatic, or again, and then they start hurt, and then you suddenly think, oh, actually, it didn't really bother me, but oh, maybe it should have bothered me, so I better make it bother me, and now it does, because sometimes it can never be the actual thing; it's how it's handled by everybody else around it. I love that. Really, really good point. Really good point, Carmen. Love it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
definitely.
you and I, we could talk about this all day.
Okay.
And I love what you've done. You've actually created that, and please put your well, we'll have your links to the books and everything so that everybody can read more about it.
Mhm.
You're an absolute delight, and as I say, I love talking to you. So thank you for being on here and sharing your feelfulness, and it's that how, and how it's so important, the how to feel, because some people just don't, they've suppressed it all their lives.
Yes.
So this is great. So really, really good. I'm glad you created it. I'm glad you've got this book for everybody. So wonderful. So thank you, Carmen, and everybody have a wonderful day. So it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's
Thank you, Claudia, and everybody have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon.
yes, take care, everybody. Bye now. Bye. taking its time to end. It will be ending. It's just whirring on my thing. I will have to no doubt edit this bit at the end. Although sometimes people don't even necessarily watch all the way to the end. Oh my goodness, why is it whirring?
Wait for it. It might go round and round and round the internet.
Can you please check your internet? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it is whirring and whirring and whirring. Okay. I will have...
Close the web, close the site, close the whole page. Well,
Yeah,
maybe not, because if you do, it might lose it. So, are you recording on the cloud?
It's just recording on the thing. It's just like, I don't know why it's...
Give it time.
Yeah.
Give it time. Give it time.
There you go. Oh, you know, if it does it again, I'll just press pause. And I can edit this last bit anyway.
Okay, that's fine. Just let it be for right now. Do the best that you can, and don't stress about it.
I'm not going to. No. I don't want to lose our recording.
Good.
So it's like I say, most people don't only get to that. So I'm just going to pause. It's not even letting us pause. Oh my goodness!
It's the internet connection.
Yeah, but I don't know why, because I've never had that before.
Are you on Wi-Fi or plugged into the cable?
I don't know. I'm in my office, so I'm just got Wi-Fi.
You're on Wi-Fi. Do you have the RJ45 plugged into your RJ45 connector?
I don't know what any of that is.
Okay, you're on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's like, what's that? You're talking technical like stuff now, and I don't know what any of that. Oh, well. I don't know why it's not ending. It's really weird. All right, it's still just like stop. It's still doing it. Anyway, not to worry. So that was great. Yeah, really enjoyed that. That was good. Yeah, I work very similarly, and it's so yeah. You've got people, you know, and when I work, they spike their feelings, and then so they do feel it, and then we get rid of it. But I don't go into the story. Never go into the story.
No.
But people love the story, and sometimes when people are still involved in the story, you know, they're not necessarily ready for change, because the story is part of their story, and they also want you to be on board with their story. And it's but the people, when they're ready for change,
correct,
the magic happens.
Yes,
it's just phenomenal, and it can be really quick. And I always say to them, well, you know, you're great. You did that. You were ready for change.
Yeah, but sometimes these people that hang up to the story, they get so many psychological benefits from it, and sometimes if I see them hanging on to it, I explain to them to some degree why and why they should let it go, and it works. But I have one or two clients that they really like to stay in their story because there's so much psychological gain from it, and it is sad. And I have a client that I even had a group therapy with her parents together, and we went to a beautiful degree of forgiveness, of saying what bothers you. Just one person talks, the other one person listens, and then repeat and repeat and repeat. At least I think we went like, I don't know, 7-9 times. Well, some went even up to 21 times to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I'm sorry, please forgive me. And it was just such a beautiful therapeutic session. And the parents were quite enlightened. You know, they weren't aware that some of their methods, some of their parenting affected the child as much. And now the child is 40 years old, right? But then I also had the parents go over their difficulties, what they gone through.
Yeah, exactly. And that's Carmen, that's exactly what I do in the bunny talk process. It's the diagram, the emotional intelligence, so that I always get the parent in first as well before I see a child, so that they go, oh, and they hopefully get that, and they go, oh, it's us. it's the environment we're creating for the,
Yes.
oh, and when
Yes.
you've got that, and then they go, oh, it's our past pay, it's our past, and then you have them as clients, and it's, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and I often, again, I actually, so I use the Hopo'opo'o, and I can never say it, Hopo'opo'o, no,
Open up.
that's I say that prayer, right? I say that prayer myself every morning when I'm on my bike, and I pass it to my children,
Yes.
and for past things, because I was not a perfect mother, and and I hope it goes to them, and it is. It's I'm sorry, forgive me, thank
Yeah.
you, I love you. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm saying it, and I cry. I'm crying on my bike when I remember
Yeah.
specific things where I got emotionally hijacked, if you like. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because with the best will in the world, when you're a young mother, every month we go, you know PMT, it's like, it was like I'd be like a monster. They were really naughty, my kids were naughty,
Yeah.
and they were, so it's like, yeah, it's not, and so it's, and then it's forgiveness of ourselves, isn't it, Carmen?
Yes, it is, because it's not easy to be a parent, and especially when you have two or three of them.
No.
And then when you're young, and yeah, and then when you're young and you have to provide all of that, then you continue to be in survival mode. So children don't know that you as a parent are in survival mode.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes like, I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tomorrow. And
And
then they grow up, and then they go to school, and it's like, how am I gonna pay for it?
right.
And you can't quite tell them that. And eventually when they grow up, they will begin to understand a lot of it. A lot of it.
I find when they have probably children of their own,
Yes.
and then actually then they'll really get it,
Correct.
because it's not
Correct.
until then, because I believe, and that really we're meant to be self-centered, because we're meant to be look after ourselves, and then
Mhm.
it's when we have children, then we stop being, well, we're then less self-centered, because we then have to nurture our little ones,
Correct.
and it can, it takes a while to transition from that,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we can only do the best we can with the knowledge we have at the time.
Correct.
And
Correct.
we all do the coaching bit. I do the coaching as well, with the emotional
Yeah.
intelligence and giving techniques and strategies. I agree. They've got to have the coaching.
Yeah.
They've got to. It can't just be, oh, here, and I don't read scripts, so it's like the person is the script. It's like,
Mhm.
do this, and that's it. That's not hypno. That, to me, that's not.
For me either. For me either. And even people that continue to tell the story, I encourage them to rewrite and understand the difficulties of the other person that they've gone through, that caused that, right? But now we understand that there is a subconscious choice that we are not aware of it. And then even when I explain this to clients, then they go, oh. So when my client goes, oh, mm, that is a therapeutic intervention.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
I think it's. I think absolutely agree. I really do.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I love how we, there's so many of us creating these new different things, and it's a whole collaboration. So it's like, and then somebody will learn, say, my process, your process, and then they'll kind of take a bit from that and a bit from that, and they'll have they'll use that, because that's what I've done. I've learned so many different things, and I've pulled from here, pulled from there, and that's what I do with my clients. It's like there's not one size fits all. It's
Correct.
literally, because we use our intuition, don't we?
Yes, yes.
And it's like that's what the client gets, really. You
Yeah,
can't put a price on that.
correct.
It's, we hone in and concentrate so much on them, because there's no distractions, and we are literally feeling their energy. And it's like sometimes I am almost hypnotized myself with them, and go, oh, and sometimes if when I am doing it, I go, oh, I've got to say this, I've got to, that's what we're going to do. That's, it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you do as well. Yeah.
Well, this is this is you are already generating states of being. You are not even that, but you're generating states therapeutic states of being, and it's not just intuition. It's not just intuition. You get into a healing mode, and when you get into what you just described, you get hypnotized. It's, I wouldn't call it hypnosis. You get into a deeper layer where you hear and you feel your client, then you know exactly what to say. You already know a few word triangles, and then you just take it from there. And then as you identify one or two states, take them as words, because sometimes states are just one simple word, or maybe two or three, but they're simple. They describe a state in a word, or two, maximum two, three. If you add the I do or I am or I have. But in that therapeutic state of being, miracles happen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would say that whatever that is, and if there's so what word would you give it when? Because I always think, well, I must be going into hypnosis then when I get that. What would you call it?
It's a therapeutic state of being. You are generating, in the book I talk about generating states of being, which is different than states of mind.
Okay.
In state of being, you combine the thought with the feeling. But in therapy, you begin to generate a therapeutic state of being. It's not about, it's you healing the client, giving them at the higher level the feeling that they need to feel to get better, and then you generate that feeling like this, and you keep generating. It's not that how you feel in that moment. You intentionally feel what they need to feel to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, that this is a skill. This is quite a skill. And then I teach practitioners to do that like that, but it takes 21 repetitions.
Yeah.
to,
So there you go. So I do it, and I didn't know I was doing it.
yes, see, there we go. And this happens, and then things that we do, we can add a definition to it. We can put the words into it, and then clients, they like it. It's like, oh, that's what's called, people like definitions. Well, not everybody, everything can be defined, but we can eventually work hard on it, put the definition on it.
Okay. Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, as I say, I just sort of made well, I'm just like, I don't know, intuition, hypnosis with them, and I'm just getting this feeling of this is what they need, and it's
Yeah.
like just comes out. So, oh, that's cool.